How's it going out there in California?
It's going great. I have a sunbeam here. I had to turn my desk so I wasn't in this like heavenly sunbeam today. We've got a beautiful day.
Oh, good for you. We're in the middle of a heat wave here, the Northeast. It's 92 degrees in Vermont, which doesn't happen very often. So we got the
Yeah.
AC firing, and outside is just almost forbiddable. But I just want to tell you, I did my Tabata outside today, 3 sets of 8 intervals. And I know there are some folks out there who are wondering what the heck is going on with that. But we'll talk about the workouts.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the workouts in a little bit. I saw a lot of really good comments. Like, I didn't think I could do that, but I did it. So, man, it's been kind of crazy weather wise, but uh, getting through it though, getting through it. You know what's but you're not having the heat wave. But I just talked to somebody in California, in Los Angeles. She said 96 and 99 are coming in the next couple weekends.
Oh, we're having heat, trust me, but we don't have the kind of humidity you have on the East Coast. But we're having wildfires, which is the big deal right now
Yikes!
is we've got a couple of, yeah, it's June. It's pretty early. So we're having some fires, so the air quality is compromised at this point. And I have some pretty strict rules about how I train. I'm lucky at the coast we don't have any smoke right now, but over in
Oh,
Silicon
good.
Valley we do. And
Yeah.
so we have to pay attention to that too as part of our forecast of
What is it? The
um,
particles per the pp. What is the
yeah.
number?
Well, my rule of thumb is typically if it's in the hundreds, I'm not going to train outside.
Exactly. Yeah.
If it's 150 or more, I'm not going to train inside either because our homes are not airproof here. Even though I have an air filtration system that's going to kind of take the particles of whatever, but it's not just like we're burning trees. We're burning buildings and cars, and there's all these
Uh,
toxic things and it drives me nuts on Strava. We'll have a bad air quality day and people are so proud of I did it anyways. I did my workout. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna just take a year off your life at this point. So
oh man,
um
it's terrible,
live to
right?
ride another day, right?
Back to the summer in a hurry here, man. It's not even, or I
Yeah.
guess tomorrow is the first day of summer. Is that right?
Today, I think.
Today's the longest day. That's right. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's coming back in a hurry. So, and
Yeah.
training in the heat, even when the air is good. I think we've had a lot of talks about training in the heat and
Hmm.
Brian and man, I've got an athlete going across the country right now with a supported
Nice.
trip and everything, and he had to sit out day 4 and he
Yeah.
was super bummed. I'm like, Dan, that it's okay.
Yeah.
you're still gonna make it. You're not a professional rider, and this is for
Right.
the best. So,
And that
I,
brings up a good topic. We're going to talk about this in a little bit, I think, of
that's
what
right.
do I do when I miss some training? How do I get back into it?
Yeah,
And that's a good one.
totally.
So, yeah.
Totally. Well, we can get right into it. Your lunchtime polls are a big hit. I love it. You start discussions, and people get in there in the Facebook group and discuss. This community, this team, this
Yeah.
family is awesome. So I just want to give a couple shout outs before we get into it. But
Yeah.
your lunchtime poll was what exactly was the question?
Why do we train in 4 to 8 week cycles? Simply.
Training blocks,
Yeah.
right? Why do we do it
Right.
like that instead of just a straight across, like a steady stress, or here, this is a good workout, do it every day, or this
Yeah.
is a good week, do it every week? It doesn't work that way. But
Exactly.
you
I
had
love
some
my two
great.
by 20s. Shouldn't I just do them twice a week, every week for the rest of my life?
I've done that, and I thought I was really on top of it, and just like having a system in Las Vegas, I guess it's like, no, you're not doing it right.
Counting cards.
Not doing it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got some shout outs. So some shout outs when you start these discussions. It's awesome because people jump in and so Megan Rose was first. She talked about progressive overload and deloading. So like progressive overload and deloading and reducing the chances of burnout.
Hmm. So, what's
Matt,
progressive overload before we go ahead? Because I think
yeah,
this is an
sure.
important concept. What is that? What is progressive overload? So we talked about maybe doing 2 by 20s. Should I do 2 by 20s all the time, or should I maybe change it up and do a 2 by 22 or a 3 by 20 or 2 by 25? So adding a little more stress, which isn't going to add as much fatigue as we think, but chronic load is going to give us higher fitness because our
Yeah.
body adapts to that same workout. If we do the same thing all the time, we get really good at that one thing, but not adaptation. So. That's
And,
important.
and that's also, yeah, it's a good point, because so my workout today in the timers had 8 Tabata intervals, so 45 over 15. So no, 30 over 15. Sorry. 30 hard, 15 easy. 30 hard, 15 easy, 8 times, 3 sets of that. Last
Hmm.
week it was 6 times, 3 sets of it. So it's a progressive system. That's how we do it. I couldn't, no way, if I saw the workout from today last week, could I have done it. And I think that's the
Yeah.
same as a lot of people. So
So you
progressive
tricked
overload.
them into, yeah,
Sorry to say, yes, I did.
tricky.
Yes, there is
Yeah.
tricking. Yeah, progressive overload is the key, though. It's got to be that way. That's what we do. So Megan Rose, thank you. That's awesome. Maggie Craig had a good answer. Noah Weisberg, Carrie Roche, Anna Combs had a great answer. I just do what I'm told.
Yeah.
Alicia Phillips had a great answer, including like the pros doping, and they had to take a week off, but they realized it worked, and therefore they're like, I almost believed this answer. I'm not sure it's right, but everyone, please go in and read Alicia's answer, and maybe there's some truth to that. I'm gullible, but either way, it's very entertaining. Thank you.
Yeah.
Richard McVeigh, adaptation and changing the stimulus up so we don't have a continuous string of the same stress. It's all different ways of saying the same thing, I think. And Melisha Walker, always in there. Thank you. We need a physical and a mental. We need a mental break once in a while to avoid overtraining and
Hmm.
injury. Just the words, that we use to communicate the same thing, and so many people saying it different ways are it's so helpful. I learned so much from these. It's great.
Yeah.
Lori,
And
this is your question. Yeah, what else you got? You have why, what, what's the effect? Yeah, tell me.
oh, yeah. Well, when we look at training, we can look at kind of the pyramidal effect. What's the first thing I want someone to do is just be consistent. How do I improve fitness consistency? And Peloton's really good at that. Our group is really good at that. They're too good at that because they ride every day, they train every day. So I want to be consistent in my fitness. If I train once a week, I never improve. I create fatigue now, but I don't create adaptation down the road. And that's really important, I think. I don't necessarily want, I'm not training with intention anymore. I'm just creating fatigue. So it's not actually making me fitter. And so that's a really important concept, is that consistency. And then I think also when I look at training, I want to look at the rhythm of what I do. When do I take my rest days? When do I do my hard days? When do I do my easy days? When do I do my long days? And I try to create a rhythm that I can replicate because my body starts to respond. And I also want to be very mindful about when do I take my rest relative to my harder workouts? And I think that's one of the things when we look at this as a to do list. Sometimes people will stack stuff up and it's like, oh, I'm going to get it done. But we lose the intention of the workout if we're not going in at the right level of fatigue or unfatigue, right? So I want to be rested going into those hard workouts. And then, of course, progression. That's the last thing, which is I can improve by being consistent. I can create that rhythm, but then I need to be very mindful in how I change what I do so I'm creating more physiological adaptation. And so that was one of the things that I was thinking about when I posted that question was kind of why do we do it in these little blocks? Well, because my body adapts after a week or two of doing something. So I have to continue. We increase TSS. We look at hours TSS. That's one really good way to do it. You can look at the number of intervals we're doing, the time at a certain intensity that we're doing. But then we don't see the result of that for a long time. So that's why I think being mindful about these training blocks is really important. We don't all think about that. We think check it off the list. It's just a thing to do, and the order matters, the consistency matters.
I think you're right. Actually, without having that calendar and having done this for years now, having
Yeah.
looking at training blocks and writing training blocks, it really helps see things differently and see each workout as a sentence or a paragraph, and
Mm-hmm.
each training block as a chapter to the book of the annual program or annual goals that you have, or leading up to
Mm-hmm.
an event. So just to recap: consistency, rhythm, rest. Like, how do you space out the hard workouts, rest, and then the next hard workout, making sure you show up to the next hard workout ready and not over fatigued. Give yourself
Right.
enough time. and the progression of the whole thing from day to day, from week to week, and from month to month, even.
Mm-hmm.
So from training block to training block. So, I mean, yeah, you could dive so deep into this, but this is
Yes.
basically what we do is the writing of the programs, and then how do you individualize it to the person, and what are their goals, and what are we writing the program for? So where are you steering the ship?
Yeah. And
I mean, yep.
that's where I think we see a big difference between a group program and an individual coaching client too, is everybody's different. Some people can do 2 or 3 days in a row of hard work and then take recovery. Some people need a day on, a day off, a day on, a day off. Everybody has their own personal rhythm. I think it changes as we age. I think it changes as we our training history. Someone who's been training and riding a bike 20 years is going to be able to do things that somebody who's just started isn't going to be able to do. And part of that is mental, but part of that is physical too. And so, as an individual client, I can really personalize what I'm doing. As a group participant, that's when, okay, I'm doing kind of the best of the best.
Totally, totally. Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah,
Well, so cool. That's such a good topic. Everybody, please
yeah.
keep contributing to that discussion and keep it going. Like, what are your thoughts? And lean on each other, use each other,
Hmm.
learn from each other. But what are we talking about for week 7? We're looking at 2 more weeks in this particular training
Yes.
block. And what do we got for next week, Lori, on the Peloton side?
Well, can I jump back in with the what
Yeah,
do we do if
yeah,
we miss a
sure.
workout question? Because I think that's an
Oh,
important
sure,
one.
sure, sure,
And
sure.
we get
Sorry,
that
sorry.
question
Yeah.
all the time. And I think this is really important. In my own training, I think about this a lot too, right? Life happens. Work and life stress can make it hard to do our workouts, or we travel. We have a question right now sitting in the queue of, I'm going to be traveling for a week. How do I jump back in? And I would say, I heard a term the other day, panic training. It's kind of like trying to catch up at the end of the semester and taking notos and writing all your notes and catching up on all your homework. The body doesn't work that way.
I
And
sometimes cram for an event. Cram, like you used to cram
right,
for tests. I'm like, oh
yeah,
yeah, I'm overtraining right now because I have an event in 2 weeks.
right.
Like it doesn't work that way.
No, right. Because if we go back to why do we train in cycles, and that's why I think this question is so good in this topic. Why do we train in these cycles? What I do today doesn't affect me today except fatigue. It doesn't make
Right,
me fitter. I don't
right.
finish my hard workout and I'm stronger. I finish my hard workout and 4 weeks later, 6 weeks later, 8 weeks later, I see the effect of that because it's a cumulative effect. So if I miss a workout, oftentimes I'm going to look at, was this an important workout? Was this just some endurance time to give me time in the saddle? And evaluate. And I might change my schedule, but most often what I'm going to do is just jump right back in, depending on how much I missed. I'm not going to try to make things up. I'm not going to double up. I'm not going to forego my days off. I want to continue forward, right? Always moving forward with my workouts and not try to make up, because it doesn't always make sense that way, right? When we craft these training plans, there's a very um, thoughtful rhythm to what we're doing. And if I then try to make up lost time, doesn't that rhythm's gone. And that rhythm is really important, more important than the progression, I think. So that's my thought. I don't know. What do you think, Greg? What do you
No,
advise your clients?
no, I like it. And sorry, I moved on. My iPad that's over here turned off, and I was clicking it on. So yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But the answer to this question, like many of them, is it depends.
Yeah.
It absolutely depends. If you missed today's workout in the timer program, well, do you bring it back around for Friday? If you do today's workout on Friday, you might be smoked for the long ride on Saturday. And so what's
Hmm.
important? What are you training for? What are you bringing around? If it's really
Yeah.
to follow up on that progression, then okay, maybe. Then do you take the Sunday workout, do the easy workout on Saturday? It's kind of a how do we resurrect the training week or the week load that you're looking to get? So we
Hmm.
have usually 3 key rides in the week, and if it makes sense, depends on why you missed. Also, if you missed for illness, somebody's sick with a cold or with a flu or something, I'm not going to bring them back to this Tabata workout. I'm going to bring them back to the Wednesday workout that was the
Yeah.
the recovery, and come back in on the reentry program, not the, oh,
Hmm.
I missed because whatever. The internet's going out
Yeah.
because of a thunderstorm, and I couldn't do it because my Peloton was out.
Right.
Like, all right, you got to reset, you got to refocus, and you got to you got to look at the situation. So the answer is, like a lot of things,
It
it
depends.
depends. It
But a longer
depends.
break is a different scenario. If I miss 2 weeks because I was traveling or sick, I may need to re-enter, which is what you were referring to earlier.
Right.
So maybe I don't jump back into where we were, or if I do, it's going to be a little painful. Maybe
It
I
might
need
be,
to do a
yeah.
week of easy spinning just to get my legs woken
Yeah.
up again and shake out the cobwebs and that kind of thing, and maybe add a little tiny bit of intensity. So, in
I keep
general,
going.
I would say if you miss one workout, it is not the end of the world. You don't need to make it up.
Right.
It's probably not going to benefit you to make it up. But if I miss a block of training, then I need to rethink what I'm doing.
Then we do a little bit of reentry and then kind of get back. And when, if you're in the team here, does it make sense to get back to where the team is? Or if you're an individual on your own plan working towards a goal,
Mm-hmm.
how does it make sense? You kind of have to reassess the whole calendar, and
Yeah.
how does the story play out? You got to write the book somehow where you end on event day ready to go. I actually did a cool talk with Fedor Schulten, who is doing the Dragon Grand Fondo in Wales on Sunday, 135 miles. So I'll post that video in a little bit later on this evening or tomorrow.
Nice.
We just did like a pre talk about his event, and it's cool. Like, he had travel, he was sick, he had family, he's got a lot of things dealing with, but he's gone from November to now the middle of June, where he's going to race for 135 miles with 11,000 feet of climbing. Like, it's a big thing. So kind of illustrates, what do you do when you have to miss? It depends.
Yeah. And like I said, panic training doesn't do it. There's not a lot that we can do when we have an event this weekend to change our fitness. We're not going to lose a lot. We're not going to gain a lot, because the fitness we have today is 8 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. So, yeah. So
I've
put that
had,
in your head when you're thinking about,
I,
how do I come
yeah,
back in?
I hear myself saying to clients, I guess, more often than not, as their events are approaching 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, the worst thing you could do now is overdo it.
Mm-hmm.
The, your training is in. You can
Yeah.
overdo it right now, or we could bring out, tease
Right.
out the top fitness. So,
And because our goal is to arrive at the event healthy, not
right.
injured, not sick. We want to, there's nothing worse in the last couple of weeks training for an event. You're over fatigued. Maybe you have a little crash or something, and then you can't do your event. So
Yeah.
be conservative with that run up. Yeah.
All good
So,
stuff. Oh, so
yes.
fun.
Now
Cool.
on to
So,
week 7.
what are we doing in week 7? What's happening next week?
Oh, it's going to
Peloton.
be awesome. Well, it's going to be a big week. There are those of you that I saw conversations about, oh my God, there's a 90-minute ride on the calendar. Yep, there is. And you can do it, right? We know that we can ride these long rides. What happens with the long rides? Well, we get bored. We get restless. We get, we need to get the wiggles out. But it's a really good mental discipline. And it's also so good for our aerobic engine to do these longer rides. So I would encourage you to try them. Those of you who are like, oh, I've never done a ride this long, you will. You'll do it fine. So have your snacks, have your drinks, be ready to go, an extra towel, the fan, all of that.
Such a
We're going to
cool
start,
accomplishment. Sorry, it's such a cool accomplishment. If that's your first 90-minute ride, please
right?
post up and the daily, post your graphs. Like, you should be celebrated. That's a cool thing to go from wherever you came from to this is your first 90-minute ride. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And on Saturday, you get to do your first 120-minute ride with Matt. So that'll be awesome too. Yay. See, 90 will seem easy after that. Monday, we'll go back. Monday is our rest day. Tuesday, we're going to do one more climb. This time we've got Ben in a 60-minute climb. There was an interesting conversation today. A couple of people were talking about, I'm not sure how to approach the climbs. And I would say most of the climb rides, I want you to think of them as drills. We're working on building fitness in a specific way. It's not an actual climb. You're just working on fitness that's going to help you improve your climbing. When we get to the Palomar climb in the last week, that'll be our actual climb. Right now, we're just improving fitness. It's just a workout. So approach them, follow the instructor's guidance, and use your perception to align with your power zones and go for it. Train your body to do this climb. Wednesday, you have a rest day or an optional Christine 45-minute PZE. So we'll have a nice spin out our legs after the hard workout on Tuesday. And then Thursday, we're back with Sam. We've got another Power Zone ride, 45 minutes this time. Friday, we rest. Saturday, as I mentioned, we've got a 2-hour ride with Matt. And Sunday, we're going to have another rest day, or we'll do a 60-minute Power Zone ride with Tunde. So weekly TSS 187, 341. This is the biggest load for the program. And then 3 hours or 5.5 hours of training.
Well, it sounds awesome.
Yeah. Sounds big.
It does sound big. Yeah, go big or go home.
Go team. Yeah.
You've been working your way up to it, and so this is where we're taking you. So cool. Well, let me jump into Training Peaks here and tell me. Can you see my screen, Lori?
I can.
Sweet. So I have, here's where we are today, the short interval blocks. And this was what I was talking about. No way could I have done this, or I hope none of you could have done this without doing the lead up workout of 3x6 before. So nicely done. We still got some sweet spot and then an endurance ride to get through on the weekend. But then next week, I called for a pullback week. So we did a mini build after our event. We did a 2-week build and then a pullback and looking to perform on this hill climb day again. So on the Saturday of week 8 is what we're looking to perform on. So to lead up to that and get ready for it, we're going to pull back a little bit this week after we've done some hard work and do a 80-70. That's 80%, 70%. It looks like this. It looks like 7 minutes at 80%. 7 minutes at 70%, and so on until you get to this 4 minute at 80% to finish out the 45-minute ride on Tuesday. Easy endurance, straight across zone 2. Most of you will notice I've turned this down from 75% to 70%. Easy helps. If you want to do this longer, if you have time and it makes sense, go ahead, add 15 minutes, add 20, add 30. Whatever your level is, don't go crazy. But if you want to train more easy is okay, but within reason. Thursday is I tried to spice it up a little bit. It's still really an endurance ride, but 4 minutes at low tempo with 1 minute at zone 4, so a little shakeout. And then 5 minutes down at zone 2, and you're going to repeat that sequence throughout. So 4 minutes, 80% or tempo, 1 minute, 100%, 5 minutes at 70% or zone 2. You're going to repeat that 3 times and then recover for the 45-minute ride. It's one of my favorite workouts. This crisscross. If you've been doing these workouts with me since the beginning in the beta first edition. I think I've given these between the challenges when I've given timers between the challenges, but Sweet Spot Crisscross, this is just these burst workouts. So it's 30 seconds up at zone 5, followed by 2 minutes at Sweet Spot. So this is it is not in line with the pullback week, but it does offer a little spice. So that burst little period, Sweet Spot, and then some zone 5 intervals, 5 minutes at low zone 5, 105%, or followed by 3 minutes at 75. It's a tough workout. So an hour with 80 TSS, and then you'll follow that up with an hour endurance ride, 40 minutes at 75%, zone 2, zone 3, right on the line. What that does is gives us a 246. It gives you the beginning of the week to really kind of dial it back and recover and rest and maybe push a little bit on the weekend. And again, leading up to, we'll kind of do the same thing next week, leading up to this Saturday. I forget what date that is, but it's next Saturday, not this coming Saturday, for the hill climb to repeat what we did the very first week of the training blocks. So good comparison. So what do we have? 246 TSS. 315 was last week, or the week that we're in right now. Remember, I said that was the highest TSS of the week, and next week will feel like a little pullback, even though there is some intensity, and same with the next week. Should be fun. Where'd we go? You there?
Yeah.
All right. So,
And Lindy Lou finally made it.
oh, she just logged on?
Yeah, she was she sent me a message saying, "Where is everybody? Is there no live today?" I'm like, "No, we're here
Yeah,
talking
we're
about you."
here. Linda, actually, you'll like this. Linda got her pink Lauf bike
I know.
delivered today in the box.
Oh, did she?
Oh
Nice.
yeah, she's like a
We could be
kid in a
bike
candy
twins.
store. Yeah, yeah, no, she's super excited. So she's figuring out how to put her bike together probably and missed maybe the beginning. So Linda, go. Linda, go. Well, I have some news though. Can I share?
Yeah.
Sadly, I'm going to step down, everybody, from the coach of the team program here, and actually step down from Team Wilpers in all. I have a number of reasons, and but man, it's been really tough to make this decision. Super sad. The community, the family, everything has been awesome. The people I've met, the challenges that I've gone through with everyone here has been amazing. But it is time for me to pass the baton. Matt and team will figure out what's going to happen next here. But for me, I am looking at a more educational or learning environment for myself, and I'm going to be challenged in that way. And in part, I have you all to thank for that, because some of the questions that come up here and come up in my coaching are like, man, the more you dig in, it's like the more you learn that there's so much out there that I don't know. And so to have an opportunity to go and learn and be mentored and everything is what I'm looking at. And I'm super excited about that possibility, but super sad to not be here with you, Lori, and with the whole team on Thursdays and everything. But there's no way you're ever getting rid of me for real forever. I'll be lurking and I'll be talking and seeing what's going on. And Matt and I have been friends for, I think it's been 15 years now. He showed up on my bike team a long time ago in Central Park. So, that friendship's not going anywhere. But, also I think, like a lot of you this time in life, we're the sandwich generation. I've got in-laws who just moved in. My wife is starting another business, a nonprofit. My daughter is 8 years old, just out of second grade. There's a lot. So to balance and hold that balance in a way that makes me feel like I can continue to grow and be healthy and be present for my family, I did have to make this decision. So it's super, super sad, but also exciting. And I think things to look forward to.
It is exciting. I think you're going to have a great experience where you're going, and at some point, I'm sure you'll talk about that a little bit. I just want to acknowledge the fact that you started a program from zero, and in the last year and change, you've built an amazing community of people who are so dedicated and have learned so much about training, about coaching, about cycling, about life. And none of this would have happened without you, Greg. So it's been a really awesome experience getting to get involved with this as well. And yeah, and I'm sad because I love chatting with you every Thursday afternoon. We'll have to bring you back as a special guest.
I would
But
love
speaking of
that.
which,
I would
we
love
have
that.
a really special guest joining us next week. So I encourage everybody to find a way to join us live. It's going to be really, actually, two special guests, but it's going to be really fun. Yeah. So we still have a couple weeks. We're not done with Greg yet.
That's why I wanted to get the information out there now this week, and we can kind of have a celebration, with the guests and have a few
Yeah.
more people on the screen. And it should absolutely. You were instrumental, actually. Last week we were talking after we did this, and you're like, you need to be celebrated, and that's
Right.
exactly what I would tell my athletes. So thank you. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome advice, and I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Yeah, I
Absolutely.
worked hard.
We don't do enough of that
On
in
building.
life.
I worked hard on building the community and building this thing, and we didn't know. I mean, that's kind of been how it's been since Team Wilpers, since I got involved with Team Wilpers. Here's a bunch of people who ride Pelotons. Go ahead and coach them. How do I do that? Well, figure it out.
Yeah.
Here's a big community. Go coach them. How do I do that? Go figure it out. All right. So it's been amazing. The people here have been so positive, so helpful, amazing. And oh man, I hope it continues and I hope it grows to make everybody
Yeah.
happy. So I'm sure it will.
And I think there are very few coaches in the world who can say they've coached a program that is one coach and thousands of athletes, or one coach and even hundreds of athletes. It's a really unique experience. So, yeah.
That's another thing. I think it did make me eligible for what I'm doing next. Is probably I would not have been looked at if I were not doing something like
Yeah.
this with a number of folks. They would have been like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
But so this maybe kind of put me on the map, so to speak. But so, oh
Yeah.
man, thank you everybody. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Matt. Thank you everybody at Team Wilpers. It's been
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. And now we're all going to cry.
Yeah. Oh, it's tough. It's tough. But yeah, next week let's meet up again. We'll talk about week 8. We will wrap up this training block in proper fashion, but we'll also have some other guests on the screen and have a little party. But so thank you everybody. I'm so appreciative for all the opportunities. But we'll wrap this briefing up and meet again next week, and see you in the Facebook group, and be present there, and thank you to each and every one of you.